What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of Brand Builder TV, where we want to share with you and show you how to brand and market in 2020, not 2004. The difference is 2004, right? It was what you knew and who you knew. 2020, it's what you know, who knows you. And it's all about brand loyalty because it maps the trust. So I'm excited to have my man, Michael, the realtor from Canada.
There you go.
Up there. Big Mike. I'm excited to have you on today because I know we've been connected for a while now on social media. We've done a few things together. I had to get you on the show because your audience, or actually what you do, is the perfect audience for this show, right? Commission salespeople, small to medium business business owners, 6- and 7-figure business owners, because that's been my world for the last 20 plus years. So I knew that we connected on social media because it was just the energy, right? We've both been there and done it and are still doing it. And to me, that's the key. And I believe that's the value. We could bring that real world wisdom, right? Because the theory just gets in the way. I want the real stuff, right? Have you been there? Have you done it? Are you still doing it? So I want you to give an introduction. Give us that 30,000 foot view, where you've been, where you're at, and where you see yourself going. And we're going to chunk that down as always and bring those golden nuggets.
Yeah, well, so basically I started off in high school. I actually wanted to be a dentist. So I was quite ambitious in that. So I went to grade 10. I was the youngest one to do a co-op program, and I worked at a dental office. And through that, grade 11, I got a job there. They hired me on, and then I actually was an unlicensed dental assistant. There was there's 3 or 4 dentists in the office, and I was their assistant. Literally, I would go in after school and on the weekends, and I worked as a dental assistant. So I was like, I'm going to be a dentist. This is amazing. So I finished high school, went to university, and completely flunked university. I was not book smart enough to get the grades I needed to get into dental school to begin with. So it basically was a huge fail in that sense. I had the dentist tell me that I could do a field better than a first or second year dental student, but I did not have the grades for it. So I basically adjusted and pivoted. I figured I got to figure something out. I kind of took some business courses. I was working towards an HR degree. Actually, my mom was an HR director for a big company here in Canada. So I was going to go in the same footsteps. Worked in a few HR fields for big companies. And then I decided, forget this. I'm a big burly guy. I need to get in construction. So one of my good buddies was a plumber. He was a commercial plumber. So I'm like, that's what I'm going to do. So I decided to get into the commercial plumber. So I was with Local 46. Plumbers and steam fitters, and I did like really big projects. I did like power plants, shutdowns, really a lot of big stuff around the city. But then I had that epiphany. One day I was downtown working on a scaffold, and I'm like, I don't want to do this when I'm 60 years old. I'm not happy. I'm not happy with this, right? Yeah. So my wife was, we just had her son, or she was pregnant. I can't exactly remember. I quit my job. She was on mat leave. We basically had no income. It was like the worst time to do anything. And I decided, okay, I'm quitting my job. I'm going to get into real estate. She's like, well, you got to kind of get a license first and go through a process. I'm like, yeah, this looks okay. I'll figure it out. So I decided to get into real estate. And then the funny thing is, during real estate, it kind of prepped me for it, which was, you look back on it and you think, well, this is kind of really freaky, is that I needed to get income. So I needed some money. We had to pay mortgages. I think our son was just born. So I started doing vending machines. And I started putting vending machines in factories and getting money that way. But then I met a cop in the area who did the same thing. But he was a vending broker. So he actually put the routes together and sold vending routes to these higher end vending companies.
Awesome.
And we were selling like $80,000 routes to these guys.
Wow.
So in essence, I was doing sales and commission already, even before I got my real estate license. So And then I got my license, and then that's it. All the money started to come in. I had Mercedes in my driveway. It was amazing. No, it wasn't. It was shitty. Let me tell you, it was hard. It was hard. Because real estate's the one industry that they say, here you go, good luck, see ya, bye. You want to make money? Figure it out. So you're fending for yourself. So get my license. I'm excited. And what do? How do I get business, right? So I started by using Kijiji. And my first thing was I was just emailing everybody. We call them in our industry FSBOs, so for sale by owners. So I was reaching out to all these people, asking them, have you considered listing with an agent? Just pitching them. I would do it every single night, so much that Kijiji would kick me off because I exceeded the amount of emails I could send from Kijiji. Then from that point on, I started figuring out, okay, well, I don't have a huge network. I don't have a large family here. I don't have relatives. I don't have a big network of friends, because in real estate, they tell you, reach out to your network, reach out to your friends. I didn't have that. So I had to find another avenue. So it's basically sink or swim, right? So I decided to start to get into the, cold calling. I grew up in a neighborhood where my parents still live there. So I decided I'm going to call the neighborhood and start calling and started meeting people. I started getting appointments. And then you start to get kind of a little bit better at things. And then you start to search for, okay, well, how can I hone my craft now? And that's when I started doing some of the coaching and some of the, objection handlers. And it kind of got me where I am today. So
I love it. I love it. Two things I love about that story is, number one, I connect, right? Once they kicked me out of high school, I realized I had the entrepreneurial DNA. And but I was in the Ironworkers Union in Philly and did all that construction because that's my conditioning, right? That's what I thought. That's all I can do, right? I can only pick this up over here, carry it over here, and then do the same thing all day. And I got to a point where I'm just like, man, there's got to be something else. And that's my keynote. One of my keynotes is the Tommy story. But I love that because one of the biggest things and golden nuggets that we can get out of your story for people in the audience is how powerful contrast is. Mm-hmm. See, so many people are afraid to make decisions. They're frozen in fear because they don't want to make the wrong decision. But if you take that paradigm shift, like you did, whether you realized it or not at the time, right? It's the contrast builds momentum and builds clarity, builds direction, and now builds power. So you knew that you didn't want to, well, first of all, you knew that you didn't learn in that cookie cutter mode, right? Yeah. In that classroom environment. I'm the exact same way, but put something in my hands, right? When I get a new iPhone, don't show me how to do it. You got to walk me through this thing, right? If I do it now, I can connect, right? So I'm the exact same way, but that contrast started to give you power because it gave you clarity and direction. So I want people to understand that when you make those decisions, don't focus so much on whether or not it's the right or the wrong decision. Just focus on what's coming at you. Is this the contrast? And now how do we actually start to move forward during that? And the construction, right? You're on the scaffolding. You're like, man, this was great about 6 months ago. Now this is getting old real quick, right?
Yeah.
But again, moving forward, and I love it because you're listening to your intuition, your inner GPS, right? The outside world is saying, are you out of your mind? You're going to have your first baby. You're not going to have money coming in. You're not going to have this. You're not going to have that. You're not going to, but you had the courage, right? And the wherewithal to follow that inner GPS, man. And that's what I love. I love that because that's entrepreneurial DNA, right? That's life 101, living on your terms. I just did a post this morning about, at the end of the day, everyone wants to know what's your definition of success. And I say it's living life on your terms, whatever that means for you. So you're living color for that. I love that. You want to expand a little bit more on listening to your gut feeling, listening to your inner GPS, listening to that intuition? Because
it took a long time to do that. Like, and looking back on it, because I even talked to my wife. I said, like, said, Melanie, like you went along with this. Like you weren't worried? She goes, well, yeah, it kind of made me nervous, but she goes, I know you. I know you're a hustler. I know that no matter what, you will figure a way out. We won't sink. There'll be a way somehow, some way that you'll figure things out. And funny enough, she's actually reading a book called Everything is Figure Out or Figure Outable. Like everything is figure outable.
Okay.
It's a book. I can't remember. So yeah, so you can. There's a solution somewhere, somehow. You can figure it out somehow. So early on, it was, whether it was a stupid decision, obviously it wasn't, but whether that internal drive that said, I just can't do this. I'm not. And it's funny how things align, and you look back on it, and you're like, wow, that's the path I went down. But believing that you can do it, sometimes not believing that you can do it, or the fear of failing is something that will push you forward as well. I didn't want to fail. I did the fear of failing through it was mostly part of the drive as well. Back then, our mortgage was, I did it weekly, because when I was a plumber, I got paid weekly. So every week was $500 on Monday morning. And I remember I would wake up Monday morning, making sure money's in the account, and then Tuesday to Sunday, I had to hustle.
Yep.
I had to not only get $500 in the account, but also we had to get groceries. We couldn't spend so much. Like, it was really tough going through that, right? But it's just that you I hate the word grind, but you just hustle. You just hustle it out. You figure a way out. If you're just going to sit on the couch and expect it to come to you and, no. You got to go out there. You got to put yourself out there. You got to hustle. And that's something that maybe sometimes detrimental to me, but my mind's always going. I'm always thinking. I'm looking for angles. I'm looking, how can it be different? What can I do with this? So going back on it, looking at it, yeah, it all lined up, but there was definitely failures along the way. It wasn't just home runs left, right, and center. It was trial and tribulation, going through things. And then, like you said, when I started calling, I was terrible at calling. I didn't know what to say, how to say it. I was having 2-hour arguments with people sometimes, but you realize that, and I use this analogy to one of the new agents that was at our office. I said, you have to look at the big picture, and especially in our industry, real estate, ego is the killer. Ego is the one thing that kills everyone, and they don't realize it till it's too late.
Yeah.
So I told him, I said, this guy didn't want to sell, didn't accept an offer. I said, well, you have two options. You could, puff your chest out and say, well, you're an idiot, and I know I'm the expert, and you should really do this. Or I said, you could look at the big picture. The big picture is that you need to get paid. You want to sell the house, and you got to make sure this guy's happy. So how do you get the cheese? Figure out how to get the cheese, as opposed to just, upsetting this guy and trying to prove a point that I feel good because I'm superior. But no, get the cheese, man. How do you get the cheese? Figure it out and make everyone happy, so everyone along the way is succeeding and feels that at least they've come some forward at that point.
I love it. And I want to go back to what you were talking about, hustle and grind. I love the way you explain it and the energy that comes across. For me, it's really so much of, you took all this inspired action, right? Because it felt right for you inside to move forward when everyone else around you was probably saying, are you crazy, right? How are you going to make
right and fear? Right and fear are two different things, though, too, yeah. Right? So no matter what you do, it's always going to be scary. Always scary.
Right. If it's not, it's not big enough.
But if it's right, you feel it's right. That's the difference, right?
When it scares you and excites you at the same time, right? That's in chapter of my book, The Dynamic Duo. It has to scare you and excite you at the same time. And it's either your heaviest anchor or your strongest propeller, right? But that's where I believe that inspired action, which maps back to that intuition, knowing, right? No matter what anybody else says, knowing. When I first moved out here to San Diego in 2008, the worst economy we've had here since the Depression, never had a retail business in my life, and I bought a struggling sports nutrition store. November 16th, 2008, everybody said, are you out of your mind? I just saw some things that I could do with the marketing and the branding. Luckily enough, within the first year and a half, we tripled the numbers. By 2012, it made sense to flip it, right? But that inspired action, right? That intuition, that knowing. I want to jump in now to real practical meat and potatoes, because your industry is this audience, right? That commission sales person, but also that small business owner. Because I believe any commission salesperson that doesn't understand that they're building a business within a business they're gonna lose. They're gonna lose that long game, because I believe that's the long game mentality. I'm building a business within a business, and I believe that's what every real estate agent, mortgage person, insurance sales rep, right? High-end car sales, because that's usually a career like real estate. You're building a business within a business, and you have to understand branding in 2020 versus 2004. So give us a little insight on that.
Branding?
Yes, branding and marketing, right? In 2020, for your world, for your industry, how do you rise above the noise in your industry?
The biggest thing that I try to do, and I go towards, is to be genuine. So I'm not here to hide behind all this other bullshit or all this other stuff. I'm a pretty humble guy, I believe. But it's being genuine. So posts that are of interest to me too, right? So I'll share funny stuff. I'll share inspirational stuff. I'll share some stuff that I have, business stuff. But it's a genuine depiction of who I am, and it's a genuine depiction of my personality. And I think the biggest thing that people have to realize is that you can't appease to everyone. So there's some people that maybe don't like me. There's some people that maybe love me. But the fact of the matter is that's irrelevant. As long as I'm true to myself, that's all that I really care about. And that's really what I strive to be. That's who I am. I'm not trying to portray this big wig realtor that drives all these fancy cars and his watches and all this other stuff. And that's fine for some people. That's what they enjoy, and all the power to them. But for me, my focus is my family. That's really what my focus is do I have enough food to enough money to put food on the table? Do I put a roof over their heads? And can we do the things that we really want to do as a family and enjoy things? That's really the motivation for me. And that kind of speaks true into how I market and how I advertise on my social media and stuff like that, because I'm a human being. I'm not a robot. I'm not this facade that you see. I'm actually a real person. I have a family, I have a wife, I have kids, I work, I have a dog, we have a car. I have all this stuff, right? I'm real. And yeah, I'm busy with shit, but yeah, I love real estate. It's in my blood. I was born to do it. I love the negotiation process. That's something that I thrive on, and I always will thrive on. So I think the most important thing for a lot of people is just to be genuine. And when you overthink things, it doesn't work. There's many times that I'm trying to do a post, it doesn't feel natural, forget it. And I won't post for maybe a couple of days. And it's like, but you need to post 3 times a day or 4 times a day. And it's like, yeah, I know that, but I don't want to post something that I don't feel is genuine to me. For the sake of posting, okay, maybe for business you have to, but the way I view it is that I want to post what I feel I need to post. I feel that inner drive wants me to do, creatively what I want to post. That's how I view it. And maybe it's a wrong thing, maybe it's a right thing, but it's just how I feel I need to do it. So
you brought up a great point, right? Is it a wrong thing or a right thing? You only know that, right? And that's going back to listening to yourself, listening to that intuition, to that inner self. Because when I post every morning, something motivational, inspirational, but something that catches
resonates with you.
Right.
That resonates with you.
Yeah. And literally, when I do that post and then I add some comments or quotes in it, I don't know what I'm going to say until that moment, until that actual moment, because that's how I roll, right? That's what. So and it
inspires you, though.
Yes.
Right. It inspires you.
Yes, and it's in the moment. It's just literally in the moment, and bang, out, done, right? Move on. So that's what, and I'm such a big believer, Michael, that in today's world, with all these platforms, it's so busy, it's so loud, but the number one way to rise above the noise and elevate your position in your industry is, number one, understanding that your personal brand trumps your business brand in today's world, right? Your business brand, it's flip-flopped. 2004, your business brand trumped your personal brand, right? And most of us didn't even have a personal brand. But if you're on any type of social media platform, you are a global brand, whether you like it or not, right?
Yeah.
So knowing that, I believe that your vulnerability becomes your credibility, right?
Yeah.
Dave Daly built and sold 3 companies in 3 different industries, but also crashed one to the ground, right? Yeah. Went through a bankruptcy, figured out how to get back up and keep moving forward. And that window of time is the most valuable for my clients, because let me share with you what I had to do, right?
Yeah.
To get through that. What did you have to do making those phone calls at night, figuring out that, the email's starting to shut down because they said you're doing too much, right? Yeah. Let's figure this out. So I think that's so important. And if we could tie that into your industry, share with us what you feel a real estate agent needs to do in today's world in 2020 to rise above the noise. Give us some real stuff.
Consistently improving the game, I always use that term, honing your craft. Mm-hmm. You always have to be improving it. And the one thing I think a lot of agents, and including myself, I have to, check my inventory every once in a while, is that you get complacent. Mm-hmm. Oh, I'm the best. I'm amazing. I don't need to do. No, you constantly have to be practicing. You constantly have to be, and I think that's a natural thing for a lot of people, like you and me, is that constantly looking for new stuff to latch onto, or another perspective on things, or how to see it. And I use this analogy with my kids a lot. That you guys know how to skate already. They play hockey, and my son does taekwondo, but you guys know how to do this stuff already. So it's not like it's going to be a big learning advantage to know to skate, but now it's the small little corrections that you're going to be doing that'll advance you even more. Now, you don't see them as big, huge leaps, but it's small little corrections throughout the time. Just like an NHL player, he's not practicing how to skate, but he's practicing to have that little extra of stick handling, or a little extra when he shoots. And those are little minuscule steps that he has to take because he's so good at it. But they're continuously learning and improving, even as a professional. So that's the biggest thing that I see what a lot of agents do, is that they are done, that's it, and now they're in their box. And I think that's detrimental to a lot of people, is that unless you're constantly evolving and looking and improving not only your business but yourself, because the biggest thing in real estate is that it's such a mind game. It takes a toll on your mind. It takes a toll on your emotions. It takes a toll on your health. It takes a toll on your relationships. I mean, you look at the real estate industry, how many people are either divorced or don't have a great home life. I mean, that attributes to the business, and the business attributes to the relationship as well. So working on yourself and how like your mindset and your attitude and stuff like that, that's probably 90% of the game compared to the actual talent or the actual skill itself. If you give me that right mind frame to answer a phone call or take a phone call and be told to F off and then keep on rolling, go to the next one, that's where the juice is, right? So continuously evolving, yearning to learn more. And for me, I love to mastermind people. I love to share ideas. Like, I'm an idea guy. I love to bounce ideas off people and come up with things. So for me, that's where I get my enjoyment from. And I think a lot of people don't do that. I think they're afraid, the being afraid that someone's going to steal your idea, or someone's going to steal from you because you're. And the analogy to that is that if I give you $1, Dave, and you give me $1, we still have $1 each. But if I give you an idea and you give me an idea, now we each have 2 ideas, right? So that's the whole idea behind it, right?
That's the abundance mentality, right? And that is, if you don't figure out how to start to include that in your daily routine, especially as an entrepreneur, you're going to lose. It's just they're the laws of life, right? Not my law, not your law. That's lifeless laws. And I want to end on this, some real practical stuff, and love your input on this. is understanding also, like you said, evolving, right? Learning. And that little inch today, and that little inch tomorrow, and that little inch the next day all starts to add up instead of thinking you have to eat the whole elephant, right? And you
That's right.
wind up choking and dying,
Yep.
right? That's no good. But also the other practical parts of this is, listen, understanding where you're at in 2020, leveraging the digital and physical stages. And I think your industry misses such a big part of that. Meaning they, like I know a lot, at least out here, a lot of realtors, they go to networkers, or they promote on one end, kind of the old school way, right? Handing out their card. But I think if there's a mind shift and you can start to, like you said, hone in on your craft, and part of your craft is understanding how to share your signature story. Now that sets you up for those physical stages where now you can actually share and connect on a whole nother level, and podcast, right?
Yep.
Realtors, mortgage people, life insurance, they should be on 3 podcasts a week, right? Because you're going to be able to get your story out there. You're going to be able to connect on a different level, but you're also going to, on a practical end, repurpose the footage that is just second to none. And podcasting is like a game changer, but most people aren't understanding how to leverage it. Would you agree?
Definitely. Yeah, definitely getting out there. Again, I think back in the day, people didn't want to deal with the human aspect. I mean, I remember back in real estate years ago, it's like they wanted to call a number, not to talk to anybody, not to do any of that stuff. All right. Like they didn't want nobody. And now I'm finding, and even the millennials, they want somebody. They want the advice. They want someone to walk them through it. They want someone to hear,
Yep.
Maybe their fears of going through things. That's what they want. They want that actual, I want to say, friendship or companionship, in the sense of business companionship, that you're going to help them through this way and you make them feel at ease. And that's what a lot of people are missing. They're just going in for the kill when it's not. You've got to build that relationship with people. And even when I'm teaching cold calling to clients or to other realtors, it's not the one call bang deal. Yeah, come over, sign the papers. It's forging that relationship. It's, I have clients that 2-3 years that I'm in contact with them by email, phone, that they finally say, yeah, Mike, come on over. I'm ready to go now. Thank you so much for your patience, or whatever. It's building the relationship with your audience. It's building the relationship with your clients. It's building the relationship with whoever wants to listen. And that's really what it comes. That's where the magical part is that if you can build that relationship with your, digital audience, and they see a genuine person and they can connect with that, you got them. You're done. That was that home run. You're set.
Yeah, I 100%. And I also think one other little hack is, when you're out in your community and you're at these networkers, instead of just going out to these networkers and giving out your cards and connecting on that way, look for the event planners, right? And figure out, how do you get on a stage that they want you on, right? Because a lot of these networking organizations want speakers. Well, listen, you have a captured audience. Now, when you can create your signature story the way that it should be created to connect on a whole nother level, now you just rise above the noise, right? In your industry, you elevated your position with your physical and your digital stages. I'm just such a fan.
Yeah.
And I really am. I think it's a big void in your industry that could be closed up so quick.
Well, I think the fact of the matter is exactly what you said. To rise above the noise, people want to hear your signature story.
Yes.
And most people don't want to do that for whatever reason. Maybe it's too personal for them. Maybe they don't have this magical story. But whatever it is, that's the roadblock we put in our own mind.
Yep.
Right. But we all have a struggle. Maybe some is different than others, but we've all gone through stuff. And there's some people that will associate with you. Yeah, I feel the same way, or I'm going through that right now, or I did go through that. And that's what when you say rise above the noise, because that stuck with me, that's what that means. Rising above the noise is being, and that's where the genuinity comes into play. That's that's who you are. That's being genuine. And people can connect with somebody who is honest and somebody who is telling their own story in their own words. And I think people can really heartfelt connect with that.
100%. And one last thing I want to drive this home is if you find yourself in that position and you know deep down that what we're saying resonates with you, that you do need to get on stages, physical and digital stages, but there is that hiccup, right? Then look for the people that can help you get there, right? Just like if I'm not going to sell my house by myself, I am going to look for a realtor that I connect with because I don't have the time. I don't know what I'm doing, right? And I need this done the right way. Just like with my accountant and my bookkeeper with my businesses. I want nothing to do with bookkeeping, Michael. I'd rather have a root canal done than do my own bookkeeping, right?
Yeah.
That's just the truth. Because look for those people, right, that can teach you what you need to know. Tom Bilyeu from Quest Bars, billion-dollar brand in 8 years, said, Dave, when I want to learn something new, I find the people and I sit at their feet. That's a guy that built a billion-dollar brand in 8 years. It's pretty amazing, right?
And the thing is that everybody can teach you something.
Yes.
You just have to be open to
Yes.
it. So everyone can teach you something. Your kids, to your teacher, to your bus driver, it doesn't matter. It's just that we have to be open to it and be able to receive it. And that's the biggest thing, right? So
that's it, man. Ask, align, and allow. Love it, love it. Hey, man, I want to thank you for taking the time. I know you're got a lot of balls in the air. You got a lot of things going. I'm so pumped that we connected on social media and that we're staying connected and we're part of your Facebook group, right?
Yeah, definitely. Thank you.
Yeah. Anybody wants more information on that?
Definitely. So I have a Facebook group called Prospecting Ninjas. It's basically salespeople. I mean, you don't have to be necessarily in real estate. You can be a mortgage broker, insurance broker. I do a lot of live cold calling on there, so you can hear what I go through. Post some of your inspirational stuff, a few other inspirational people, just to kind of, that little click get together and kind of, go through our struggles, share our struggles, kind of figure out solutions, because there's always a solution. And again, talking to like-minded people, it always ends up well. So thank you. Thanks for having me on, though. I appreciate it.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. And this is just the beginning. So I'm excited. And again, thank you. And guys, thank you so much for watching this episode. And if you're getting value out of it, please share this, get it out there. That would be a huge, huge favor for all of us. And at the end of the day, understand when and where you're branding and marketing for your brand. Is it 2004 or did you catch up to 2020? Because either way, the evolution train's leaving with or without you. So, man, thanks so much, and we will see you on the next episode.